We're joined by the Senior Manager of Communications with the Road Commission for Oakland County. Craig Bryson joins us once again on the program. Craig, thank you for being back with us.
Thank you for the opportunity.
We appreciate it. So since we've last spoken, how have you been? How's your team at the Road Commission?
Things are good. We have been, fortunately, only very minor impacts of the coronavirus as far as staff and our operations, and we're moving ahead gung-ho with a big road construction season.
But budgetary issues have been a concern for many other industries, many other sectors of government. Have those budget issues and just COVID-19 issues in general, you said they haven't had a huge impact on the Road Commission, but I'm sure they have had some impact, if at all. What are those impacts looking like, and how's that affecting projects and potentially the roads in our local area as we speak?
Yeah, good question. Two sort of different aspects of that. One is the current year's budget. We've seen some reduction. One of our biggest sources of funding is the state gas tax, and during the coronavirus situation, a lot of people were not driving, so gas tax revenues dropped pretty significantly for a while. So, as a result of that, we've done a number of things. We paused. We had plans to build a new shop for our electrical staff. We have a lot of electricians, traffic signal technicians, those people. They're working in a very old, cramped, temporary facility. We had planned to build a new structure for them this year. That's been postponed. We've postponed some equipment purchases that we planned this year. We've also postponed several projects that we had been planning to pay for 100% with Road Commission dollars. 3 culvert replacement projects, 2 bridge preventative maintenance projects, and 4 intersection improvement projects. So we hope we'll be able to restore those to a future year's budget, but for now those projects are delayed. That's the immediate year. The bigger question we really have is the coming year or two. We don't yet know what the state legislature is going to do with the general fund portion of road funding. You might recall back in 2015 when they passed a new road funding package, half of that package came from the state general fund. As we all know, the state general fund has a huge hole right now because of the coronavirus. And we're very concerned that the state may start chipping away or take all of that general fund money away from roads. That could be devastating. It could be, a minor impact. We just don't know yet. Worst case scenario, it could take a huge chunk of our budget. So next year is going to be a big question that we just don't know what the answer is to that yet. So we're anticipating that.
As you're anticipating what that impact may be, what should we in the general public be anticipating as the effect of that impact? Should we expect these projects to be taking longer? Maybe they're more drawn out and we have road closures or lane closures that last a little bit longer, construction projects maybe going on for a little bit longer at odder times of the year. What can we expect going forward through the rest of 2020 in regards to road projects, and definitely in 2021 as your budget is impacted then by the COVID-19 pandemic?
Right. So for 2020, the projects that we have going now will proceed. Those are all funded. Everything that's going now, which is a lot of work, will proceed on schedule and will be concluded this year. Next year, worst case scenario, it would be a lot fewer projects. The project schedules would probably be the same for those that did proceed. There would just be a lot fewer projects, a lot less roads would be improved. That means roads that need desperately to be resurfaced wouldn't and would continue to deteriorate. Safety improvements might not happen. Some road widenings, intersection improvements might not happen. That's the worst case scenario.
Craig Bryson with us. He's the senior manager of communications with the Road Commission for Oakland County, with us on the Oakland County MegaCast. So you're saying that the 2020 projects that were already going to be in place and are already in motion are going to stay in motion. They're going to continue to be done. So what can we expect? What are some major projects coming up or already in place in Oakland County that the public should be aware of as we go forward?
Well, we've got a lot of work going on right now. Some of it's not in your coverage area, but I'll try to go through some of the stuff that's happening in your coverage area. In Rochester Hills, We're doing some work on Adams Road right now. We've got Adams Road closed between Walton and Avon, where our crews are doing some rail replacement and some road bank stabilization. Some of the edges of the roads were unstable there, so that's closed through roughly the end of the month. We just finished, some of your viewers may have noticed, we just finished some work on Cooley Lake Road, just west of Union Lake Road, where we had that closed to do some concrete slab replacement. They'll notice a much smoother road through that section now. That's done. But we have another section of Cooley Lake Road on the Commerce White Lake Township border, where we're going to be replacing a culvert starting about August 3rd. That'll last through roughly the end of August. That section of road will be closed for that culvert replacement. Got a couple of small culvert replacements on some essentially subdivision streets in Bloomfield Township on Pickering Road. Those will start in late summer, early fall. Another big one coming up in Bloomfield Township is a culvert replacement on Square Lake Road over the Amy Drain, which is between Opdyke and Squirrel Road. We'll be shutting that down. That is intended to start August 3rd and last probably through the end of August as well. We've got another culvert over on Wise Road in Commerce Township. This one's between Carroll Lake and Union Lake. And that one's ongoing right now, where we've got the road closed while we replace that culvert. And that's going to last till probably mid-September. Other than that, we've got some other major projects going on in Orion Township. We're continuing to rebuild Baldwin Road between Morgan and Walden. We've got a major widening project going on DeQuinder on the Rochester Hills, Shelby Township border, and a lot of little simple resurfacing projects going on all over the county continuously.
Craig, as these projects go on and as time goes on too, and people are returning to work, they're going back into the office, they're commuting again, and they have to navigate these projects. It's a little bit different than before, where we're used to summer construction projects and fall construction projects that impact our commute. But a lot of people that were commuting and haven't seen as much traffic on the road are going to see more traffic. Those who haven't commuted in several months are going to be coming back and readjusting to that. How has that factored into plans from the Road Commission for Oakland County as they're going forth with these construction projects to reduce the impact that these projects may have on people's commutes as they reacclimate themselves to some semblance of normalcy?
Yeah, I mean, it's really been beneficial for our contractors. You know, the less traffic on the road, the easier it is for them to get their projects done. A number of projects have been moving ahead on schedule or ahead of schedule, partly as a result of that. Another partly due to the dry season we've had so far. That certainly has helped us too. But as traffic picks up again, we'll have more traffic. That's where we have road closures, more traffic diverted onto the detour routes, and additional congestion as a result of the road closures. We really have avoided a lot of what would have been normal congestion from road construction so far this year because of that lessened traffic. But as you mentioned, we're starting to see that traffic pick up, and we are starting to see more congestion coming back.
And as we continue to see more people go back onto the roads and they're facing these issues of congestion or just the commute and reacclimating themselves to going to and from work each and every day, these construction workers continue their projects on. They're out there no matter whether or not people are going to be commuting to work regularly or if there's going to be a lesser commute than normal, as we've seen throughout this pandemic. What can the community do to help move these projects forward, to be courteous and to be mindful of these construction workers as they're trying to get these projects done in a timely manner, knowing that, yes, they are providing for a certain extent of time an obstruction, but a necessary obstruction to people's commutes?
Right. And first of all, we appreciate everybody's patience as we do this. We know that, when we close a road or even closing lanes, it's an inconvenience. We appreciate everybody's patience and support of that. This is what we need to do, unfortunately, to fix the roads. But really what can help is obeying when there's a road closure, obeying the detour signs, not trying to go around the barricades. We've had, and we always have a number of problems with people going around barricades or not following the directions of the flaggers if we have lane closures. The more you can do that, even though it's frustrating, it's time consuming sometimes and you have to wait. But allowing the construction workers to work in their construction zone gets that work done on time. And it's also, even more importantly, I would say it's a safety factor. Those are dangerous jobs, working in the roadway. And the more we can make sure that the traffic stays away from the workers, the more we can make sure those workers can get home to their families every day.
And on the topic of these construction workers, they're working in crews. I would imagine that with what's going on, they may be in similar crews each day, but they're interacting with with each other. They're interacting with a lot of equipment, and while it is outside, that creates a lot of touch points and a lot of potential issues of being in potentially close proximity with one another. What does the Road Commission for Oakland County have in place as it stands now to ensure that these construction workers are safe and that they are following COVID-19 measures, regardless of the fact that they are, by and large, working outside?
Great question. So we're constantly reminding them to, social distance, try to make sure there's that 6-foot gap between you. And I think it's human nature. We all sometimes forget you're out in the field, you're having a meeting, trying to talk to somebody, you move in closer, just have to remind them to please stay that 6 feet apart. When you're in groups, even though you're outside, if you choose to, you can wear a mask. That certainly helps. We've asked the public not to approach either our staff or our contractor staff on a work site, just to make sure we keep those distances. And then just constantly avoiding that close contact and washing their hands constantly. I mean, those are really the most we can do right now, and we've been pretty fortunate. Following those protocols seems to be working for us.
Craig Bryson with us, the Senior Communications Manager for the Road Commission for Oakland County, with us on the Oakland County Megacast on a family of TV and radio stations all throughout the local area. Craig, just another few more minutes with you before we gotta let you go. Is there anything else that's really important that we haven't touched on today that we should know about upcoming projects, upcoming initiatives from the Road Commission for Oakland County, other ways that the community can help your team do what you need to do going forward?
Sure. So one of the things I mentioned, we're doing a lot of small resurfacing projects all over the county. We call those our preservation overlay projects. That's where we put down a simple 2-inch or so new level of asphalt on top of the existing road without much additional work. Those projects, just so people know, those projects are pretty quick and easy. We get in, we get out. They're inconvenience for maybe 3 days over a 2-week period where they come in, do a little bit of prep work on the surface, do the actual paving, get the new asphalt down, and then they come back on the 3rd day and put the new striping on the roads. It's a great way to get a nice, smooth, new surface on the road with minimal impact on traffic and on the road and on the community at a relatively low cost. It's a good bang for the buck. We think it's one of the most efficient uses of public dollars that we have. So we just, again, thank the public for being patient when those do come. They're all over the county. We come in, we get it done, and we're out of there. And we encourage people to please just be patient when we do come through with those. Again, it's usually about 3 days worth of work over about a 2-week period, and we're in, we're out. But the results are a great benefit for all of us.
And can you talk just before we let you go? We talk about this often with you, but it's good to go back to it and rediscuss it again for those that are not as familiar, or as definitely as people go back out onto the roads. We have so many more roundabouts in our local area now than we have ever had before, and people still have trouble with it, even though that they've been out there for all these years. And definitely people will have some trouble as they reacclimate to driving to and from work and across communities as they're going back, and we slowly but surely emerge from this pandemic. What are some common issues that we run into with people in roundabouts, and what are some suggestions from the Road Commission or resources from the Road Commission for Oakland County that they can access or they can put to work so that they're driving safely and efficiently through these roundabouts?
Great question. I'm glad you brought that up. That's a great topic. First and foremost, the main reasons we like roundabouts are two. One is safety. Roundabouts have vastly fewer serious injury crashes and fatalities. They're a much safer form of intersection than a signalized intersection. And number two, they move a lot more traffic, so they reduce congestion significantly. The thing that we want people to understand is the way to drive those. A couple of quick tips that you can use is look at the signs as you approach the roundabout. The signs tell you which lanes to be in to go which direction. You go right, you want to go straight, you want to go left, get in this lane. So choose the lane that you want to be in before you get to the roundabout. Get in that lane and stay in it. What you don't want to do is switch lanes inside the roundabout. That's where we see problems. People switch lanes without looking to make sure there's not somebody in the next lane and we have a side swipe. Usually there's no injury, but it's still a crash, and we don't like to see that at all, of course. So choose your lane, stay in your lane, and as you come up to the roundabout, remember that you just have to yield to traffic that's in the circle. So you look to your left to see if there's anybody coming in the circle. When it's clear, go ahead, but yield to the traffic that's there. So choose your lane in advance, yield to the traffic that's there, and don't switch lanes in the roundabout. The other thing I suggest to people who are not comfortable driving with them, maybe not familiar with them, is you need to drive through that intersection. Go out there maybe on a Sunday morning when there's not much traffic and drive around it a couple of times, familiarize yourself with it. I think once people do that, we really find that they like them a lot, that they have eliminated a lot of backups at traffic signals in the county. They've really helped as far as safety, and we think they're a really good thing in many situations.
Craig, I love roundabouts, and I know I have a couple other family members and friends that love them, and a couple more that just cannot stand driving through them. They don't understand why they were put in instead of just the traditional traffic lights. From the Road Commission's point of view, as you're planning these projects and you're changing these intersections from traditional traffic light situations to roundabouts, why are roundabouts so much more beneficial in some situations or more efficient in some situations than the traditional traffic lights?
Well, let me give you the example of moving traffic. A traditional traffic signal, you have 50% of the traffic stopped at all times, right? Two directions of traffic are stopped while the other direction is going. So 50% of all the traffic going through that intersection is stopped at all times. That's not an efficient model. With a roundabout, traffic is flowing in all directions at all times. You slow down a little bit coming into the roundabout, but you keep moving generally. So traffic moves a lot faster, and the engineers nationally and internationally estimate that you can get between 30 and 50% more traffic through that intersection with a roundabout than with a signalized intersection. So they're great for moving traffic and reducing congestion. And West Bloomfield is a prime example of that. If you look at the roundabouts along Maple Road, at Drake and Farmington Road, for example, we used to have massive east-west backups in rush hour. Those are pretty much gone now. There's maybe a slight delay at the peak of rush hour, but traffic flows through those intersections far better than it did before when there were signals there. Secondly, one of the worst things we see in urbanized counties is traffic fatalities at signalized intersections. And those happen generally in two ways. One, either a head-on collision, two cars come through an intersection, head-on collision, or a T-bone, when somebody's turning left and somebody comes through and hits them broadside. That's where people get killed. That's where the serious injuries are. With a roundabout, you're pretty much physically eliminating the possibility of either of those two types of crashes from happening. You got an island in the center, so it's extremely difficult to have a head-on collision unless you go up and over the island. That's extremely unusual. And because traffic is flowing in one direction around the roundabout, you're not having those T-bone collisions. And the numbers bear that out. Nationally, we see about a 90% reduction in fatalities when roundabouts replace signalized intersections. And frankly, there's virtually nothing else we can do as a road agency that reduces traffic fatalities by 90%. That's huge from a traffic safety point of view. So safety-wise, we love them. Efficiency-wise, they are working great.
Craig, any further plans in the future to put more roundabouts in the Oakland County area?
Absolutely. We every year we do at least a couple of intersection improvement projects, and now our standard protocol is we look at the intersection and we determine, is a roundabout better, is adding a couple of turn lanes better, and whatever makes the most sense in that intersection. And oftentimes that is roundabout. So you will see, from this point forward, we'll continue to see additional roundabouts, if not every year, at least every couple of years throughout the county, and they'll just begin to proliferate. And one of the benefits of that, by the way, is the more roundabouts there are, the more people become familiar with driving them, the less we have this problem of people not being familiar with.
Well, Craig, thank you very much for being with us today.
Thank you. Appreciate the opportunity.
Appreciate having you on. Craig Bryson, the Senior Manager of Communications at the Road Commission for Oakland County, with us on the Oakland County MegaCast.